Hello. So take a look at this entire video because this is a game changer. For those of you that is watching me for the first time, this is Nadra with the Crafting Quickie. My website and supplies can be found on www.vinylandblanksdepot.com. I will list my website below. So come on and let's see what Crafting Quickie we have today. I purchased this frosted glass tumbler from Walmart and I figured let me see if I can sublimate on it. Bam, and I can. So the first thing that I do is to measure my tumbler to figure out exactly what size I need to create my image. I measure it around and from the top to bottom. Now be sure to take all of the stickers off the bottom and to take the top off before you sublimate it. So here I go over to my computer and I make sure that I change all of my print settings. I'll list those for you as well. And basically, I'm just going to make this a lemonade type tumbler because it's so fitting for the season and I thought the image looked really good on it. And as you can see, it does look really great. I'm using Vinyl and Blanks Sublimation Paper. So be sure to check out our sublimation paper that can be purchased at www.vinylandblanksdepot.com. It's really great, no bleed through, great ink transfer. As you can see here, I'm just cutting my image out because I usually print 2 on a page. Just in case I mess up, it's nice to have the second one already printed. Now I am taking the top off of the water bottle. And I'm kind of just going to pre-measure my image around the bottle. So just in case it's not a perfect fit, before I start taping it, you have some type of idea of where you need to cut or if you need to trim it or if it's a perfect fit. I usually make my images a little bigger than I really need them to be, and I can go back and trim it. And I do this because I would rather print an image too big rather than too small. If it's too big, you can go back and trim it. If it's too small, you basically have to start over. I'm also using some heat tape from Vinyl and Blanks Depot. And right here, I'm just going to put a piece of tape on the paper so I can stick the paper on the bottle really well and it will stay in place. And by the way, the tape dispenser can also be purchased on the same website, which the tape dispenser is amazing. Now, let me tell you a little trick. Once you measure your image to put the paper around the frosted glass bottle, be sure that you tape it really well. What I do is I tape the seam all the way down, and then I'll go and I'll tape the bottom and I'll tape the top. When you're taping the top, be sure that you stop your image before you get to the curved part of the water bottle. You do not want the paper to go all the way to where the ridges of the water bottle is. So a good stopping point is right before it curves. And you'll see in a second how I'm just taping it really well. and I want to make sure that the image is held tightly on the bottle. You're going to tape it pretty much the same as you would do your basic tumbler. Now, the first process I use is after I put some tape on the paper, I'm using a reusable silicone tumbler wrap. And when you use the reusable silicone tumbler wrap, you don't have to use the shrink wrap. The reusable wrap is going to hold everything in place nice and snug. I put it in my toaster oven on about 400 degrees, and I set my timer for 8 minutes. I do not go back and turn it or anything. I let it go for the entire 8 minutes. Once my timer goes off, be sure to be very careful because your bottle is going to be very, very hot. So you want to just set it aside and let it cool before you try to unwrap it. So here I'm just giving it some time to cool. Now that it's nice and cool, I'm going to go ahead and take the silicone tumbler wrap off, and I'm going to peel the tape and the sublimation paper off. So this is your first method that I'm going to tell you about, but I tried it a second way as well. So as you can see, it looks pretty good, but a part of it did not sublimate very well. So my guess is the part of the wrap that didn't close all the way is the part that did not sublimate very well. So I should have taped that down a little bit more in order to make sure that the paper was still fitting snugly around the tumbler. So I decided, well, let's try another one. This time I'm using the exact same tumbler. Well, not the exact same tumbler, but I'm using another tumbler that's just like the previous one. And what I'm going to do this time, instead of using the silicone wrap, I'm going to actually use the shrink wrap to see if there's a difference. I love just trying stuff, and that's how you figure out what works and what are some game changers and just new things to offer your customers that they can't just go find everywhere else. I don't mind spending a little money to try something, and once I learn something new that I find exciting, I love to share it with other people. So no, I don't mind sharing my secrets. It's enough for all of us to win. So you're going to tape it the exact same way that I did before. I have the tape going down the seam. I have the top of it taped and the bottom. So with my shrink wrap, I'm kind of measuring it. I eyeball everything so I can cut it and make sure that the shrink wrap does not go around the neck of the bottle. If it does go around the neck of the bottle, you might have to put a little work in to getting all of the shrink wrap off once it's baked. But as you can see, with the way that I kind of measured it, it's going to fit just right around my bottle, and it's not going to be around the neck of it at all. Next, I use my heat gun to shrink the shrink wrap. I love it for it to be really, really smooth. Sometimes I can be a bit of a perfectionist. You don't have to be as perfect, but that's just what I like to do. I'm putting it back in my toaster oven. Again, my degrees is on 400, and I'm going to put it in there for 8 minutes. I'm not going to turn it or anything. I'm going to let it bake for the entire 8 minutes without disturbing it. Once the timer goes off, I'll take the tumbler out of the oven and I'll set it aside and let it cool completely. While you're watching this video, if you find this information helpful, please help us out by liking it, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to share it. This way, I can bring you more free tutorials to help you grow your business as well. And now it's time for the grand reveal. Wow. Take a look at this. The silicone wrap is like really awesome to use. I would say it probably works better if you're not using an all over image, and if you do, make sure that you maybe add a little extra tape to the part right under the closure of it. With the shrink wrap, I would say this was like a perfect result. The design is beautiful. It's nice and bright. It took very well. It's all over the bottom. So here's our final product. And again, I use supplies from Vinyl Blanks Depot. You have the sublimation paper, the heat tape dispenser, the silicone wrap. I just use a basic silicone rubber glove. Look at that baby. I'm in love.